Hey guys, welcome back to another quick impressions video here on another game I beat on the Nintendo Switch. And we're talking about Cave Story Plus, a game that, as far as indie games out there, this is probably one of the most renowned and respected games. After all, it was one of the first, if not the first indie game, I think, that came out back in, I think, 2004. When this game came out on the PC, it was like a freeware title, I believe. And over the course of the years, this game had different releases for different systems. This Cave Story has been on PC, on Steam, on Nintendo DS, DSi. I know the 3DS has a pretty kind of like rare 3D version of the game, and it's kind of funny, that I love video games. I love these type of games that kind of blend platforming with shooting elements and Metroidvania elements. I really enjoyed those games, and it's kind of odd that it took me this long. Back, fast forward all the way to 2017 for me to finally purchase this title here, Cave Story Plus, on the Nintendo Switch. I thought it was a pretty good opportunity to play this game. This is a little bit of a updated version in terms of the graphics. The game still retains the sprite and old school, 8-bit slash 16-bit type of graphics, but I think this one has a little bit more upgraded sprites as compared to the original release from 2004. And the cool thing about this game also, as far as the sound, is that it has a lot of different remixes that you can toggle before you start the game. You can have the original sound, you can have the remaster sound, and modern versions of the songs and whatnot. So even if you're a seasoned Cave Story fan, I think there are a couple of options that will make this game a little bit more entertaining and fun to play for you guys. Now, as far as the story, it's an interesting story like any other game. I believe this game was created by like one person. It's one of those indie game stories that where one individual did the most of the work. And yeah, the story in that regard is a little bit simple. You play with a Squad, which is basically a robot that doesn't remember anything, amnesia. Go figure, we have another case of amnesia on a video game story, but that's basically what happens. You don't remember anything, and you have to help the local, I guess, these local species that inhabits this planet. This evil doctor is kind of using this particular species to his advantage, and your role is to stop him and put an end to his evil scheme. The story, simple. It's simple but interesting. The game offers different endings. I was able to get actually two of them. There's a bad ending, and then there's a good ending, and I believe there's like an extended version of the good ending, which you have to do a couple of extra steps that I wasn't sure, what to do. But it's pretty easy to get I got the bad ending first purposely because it's pretty obvious when you get a certain point towards the end of the game, you have to make this selection via a conversation, and it was pretty obvious that it was going to be the bad ending. But the cool thing is, you can save the game right before that happens, so you can kind of like watch the bad ending and then just hit the reset button and reload your save, and then you can move on to do the good ending of the game. So in that regard, I was able to see two of the endings of the game. The game is not very long per se. I think it took me around 7 hours to beat the game, but I thought the length of the game was really appropriate, and I think that's where this game really shines. It's the level design. The enemies that are introduced during the game are pretty varied in terms of being offered different types of enemies as you progress through the different levels. And I don't know. It was just it was just a very interesting setting. When I played this game, the planet where you play the game, it was a very just a very interesting setting, and then coupled with the graphics of this game, which is that old school kind of like 8-bit retro look. It does help create this feeling of a classic video game that you already played in the past. But for me, it was a brand new experience playing Cave Story, and I'm really glad I did. And I can see why this game created this cult following of fans, because the game is it's a pretty solid experience. It's hard for me to call this downright a Metroidvania type of game because the backtracking and the unlocking different moves and powers in order to revisit areas later in the game. I don't think it's as obvious as other Metroidvania types of games. I like to think of this more as a platformer with shooting elements, kind of like the Mega Man games. But it does have Metroidvania elements thrown here and there. So a very unique combination, and I'm very appreciative of how this game was developed by this one individual. And I think a lot of great ideas in the game. The controls are very tight. The platforming segments are if you miss a platformer or anything like that, it's completely your fault because the controllers are pretty tight. And the shooting is actually pretty satisfying. You get different weapons to choose from. You start with a regular pistol, and then you can upgrade to, or get newer weapons like a machine gun, like a bubble type of gun, and different types of ammos that are appropriate for different types of enemies. And as you progress through the game, you can collect, increase your energy or life, if you will, and also increase your missile capacity and whatnot. So a lot of throwbacks also to older Nintendo games, kind of like the Metroid games. There are some slight not jabs, but kind of like I guess honor mentions to other previous Nintendo games, which I thought it was pretty cool. But overall, this package right here, I think if you guys have not played this game before, I think this is a really good reason for you guys to get this. This game is only $30. It's kind of like a budget priced release. And even though the game is pretty short, and in my opinion, it doesn't really offer, for me at least, it didn't offer me another reason to go back. I think it's a really nice package for $30, considering all the goodies that come with the game. It comes with a soundtrack CD, it comes with a old school instruction booklet, and of course, the cartridge of the game, and then you have the back art, which is kind of like a staple for Nintendo Switch games. So. Pretty cool cover, pretty cool art, instruction booklet, soundtrack CD for only $30. If you guys have Gamers Clubs unlocked with Best Buy, it's even cheaper. And overall, Cave Story, a really nice package. I'm really glad I played this game, and I was able to beat it. Yeah, another check on my Nintendo Switch list of games. I'm doing pretty good with the Switch right now. I think there's only one game that I own physically that I have not beaten yet. So pretty happy with my progress on my Nintendo Switch library, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all later.